Okay, we are live.
Yay! Once upon a time, in the land of Clichéa, in the Kingdom of Generica, in the 12th year of the reign of King Jon XVII. We're still a gentleman. When last we left our intrepid heroes, and the rest of you,
Which one of us is intrepid?
I haven't quite sorted that out yet.
Not me, I'm completely trepid.
You're trepid AF.
I couldn't afford the 5 points for intrepid.
So after the battle was over and the cleanup begun and the meetings and whatnot, Laodin took off across the river once again into the woods to go see what he could see. He had pretty much zero trouble picking the trail back up because they weren't really trying to hide as much this time. On the other hand, they were a bit scattered. Was he going to be going full tilt again, or is he taking his time?
His taking his time is going to be faster than them, so he won't be going full tilt, but he'll be moving quickly.
Well, in Laodin's benefit in this case, they weren't following those predetermined paths this time, so had a little easier time keeping up. Plus, he already had a pretty good idea which direction they were headed. At any rate, he will eventually, within, let's see, what was it going to be, about 2 hours, I think. Find himself within visual range of the camp once again. It is still a new moon, which doesn't bother Laodin all that much, really. But for them, they can't see diddly squat. And how close is he getting? About the same?
Observation distance, yeah.
So he can see that there is activity. He watches for a little while and can see the basically stragglers coming in, little clumps at a time. He will also observe a larger central tent where some men are arguing with another man. That other man is appears exasperated, and then several of those men go into the tent, very determined looking.
Can Laodin see if those men have any sort of, rank or better clothing to indicate they're possibly, highborn? Or are they too far?
Well, you've not seen a lot of variation in their uniforms, and without any real military experience, it's kind of difficult for him. But he suspects one of those guys was in fact in charge, because it looked like the other ones were deferring to him. You got the impression they were attempting to explain the loss. And and he was less than thrilled to hear it.
There were only 6 PCs, boss, but they had this horse.
I got some stories in that regard, but I won't tell them now. Right, so how long are you hanging out?
Not too long. Once I've sort of got a fix on their location and got an idea of what's happening and how many, roughly how many are sort of turning up and the condition that they're in, then Layden will go back.
Obviously not full numbers have returned, but and some of them were obviously wounded, but it looks like a lot of them probably by this point.
And their general actions are recovery. They're not like regrouping or rallying to strike again or break camp or anything like that.
Well, they went into that tent. What you assume to be the bigwigs went into that tent, and they're still in that tent. You can see the shadows moving around in the little gaps, but obviously you can't hear what's being said. Nobody else is really doing anything. You don't get your impression is not that they're about to remobilize.
Alright, so I'm not seeing people shouting orders, tear this stuff down or, reform your ranks and stuff like that.
Negative.
Okay, so that will satisfy Layden and he'll head off.
So, a couple hours later, you re-arrive at Gigermann. This time, you had you're pretty certain of the camp's position geographically. Don't think you'll be making any funny mistakes again.
Let's be sure on that.
You already rolled.
Did I? Okay.
I made you roll that last week. But as you review you think back over your navigational data and decide, yeah, I think that's pretty sound. So it's about midnight by the time you get back there. You gonna wake people up or let it go till morning?
I will probably wake up Kendrick just to report.
Everybody was just kind of sleeping wherever they could before. At this point, they're not all going to fit in one of these little cottages. The church will have been offered up as a place to sleep.
Damn, I need to get a tent.
Yeah, well, if you get a tent, you gotta get people to put up the tent.
Yeah, so? I'll get some people for that too. Right. So compared to his arrival, what time is it? Yeah, you said it's midnight. So what about the other people that were coming into town? Or the other person? Has he already come into town?
Yeah,
The
that was
survivor?
earlier. Yeah, that was right around the time Laodin left.
No, Landon was already gone when the dude arrived.
Yeah, but it was like a little bit after.
Right.
Around.
Okay.
So Laodin wakes you up.
And I'm probably yawning in the game just like I'm yawning in real life.
Laden will report. Tell Kendrick the men are coming in what's the word for it? Scattered formations or scattered groups. There does not appear to be any plan in place to remobilize or rally or anything like that. I did observe two commanders bickering, most probably at the failure of the mission.
So noted. I'm going to presume that the Lord Vicar has probably retired. However, there's likely going to be somebody of his people up in a boot.
There will definitely be a guard rotation.
Well, I'm looking more for a commanderly type, like a watch captain sort of thing.
Well, if you go to talk to whoever's awake, they will point you to who you need to talk to.
Right, so I'll seek that out. Probably bring Leodin with me. At least let that guy know that it definitely seems unlikely that we're going to see a retaliatory strike in the immediate future. Plus, give them the general, compare with their map to sort of isolate roughly where the location is.
And Laden will be able to give you a rather accurate location of their camp now.
So you spend some time with the Lord Vicar's man and sort out the particulars. And he dismisses you, says they will deal with that tomorrow when the rest of the force arrives.
Yes, well, we're still planning on heading after the other dudes.
Ah, very well. Going back to bed. And Laodin to bed, not back to bed.
Yes, Laden to bed. You will find a quiet spot.
When does everyone intend to get up? Roughly.
When woken.
Roughly sunrise.
Yeah, roughly.
Sounds good.
Roger, Roger.
Sleep in. She's having a wonderful rest.
All that violence yesterday just kind of wore you out. Not that she actually participated immediately in the violence. Thanks to superior PC tactics, and not at all from GM failure. So, the sun eventually rises.
One hopes.
And everybody starts getting up and about. It is a very nice day, at least at the start. Actually see the sun for once.
That's strange. What is it? Oh, right, sun. Got it.
How shall you conduct yourselves this day?
All right, so need to probably start gathering everybody up because we want to head out. Make sure that whoever the latest watch commander guy is aware of the report. Just double checking. Wake everybody up, gear up, and then we should head after. I'm wondering if we should probably go to where the abduction point was and follow that as opposed to go straight to the camp. Because while we're presuming they're at the camp, we actually don't know that for a fact. They could have gotten attacked by a bear.
There are owlbears out here.
Frickin' owlbears, man.
And drop bears.
Drop bears aren't native to this part of the world. They're more than the southeast. But you never know,
Yeah.
they can wander.
That's what they say about ninjas, too.
That is what they say about ninjas.
Yeah, but my presumption, not presumption, but my suggestion is going to be go to the ambush site and trail them from there. On the presumption that we're going to end up at the enemy campsite, but just to be safe.
That is wise.
Crap. Right. Why is
Well,
asleep?
well, you know Getwell's still asleep, wherever he's standing.
Man. Does Getwell have lazy?
No, he's infantry.
I think he has lazy.
He said infantry.
We should probably also shout out to the spare fish who's joined us in the stream.
Hey.
You kind of pooped out there. I didn't hear what you said.
I said we should shout out to the spare fish who has joined us in the stream.
Hey, fish.
So you need to determine how you shall go equipped.
I mean, how should go equipped? I'm wearing my frickin' armor.
Well, I'll not assume for you. And the survivor will tell you that it's probably good 5 or 6 miles back where they got hit, back near the other bridge.
Great. There's another bridge.
Now there are bridges all up and down the river.
All right. Let's get this show on the road, people. We got to go rescue Marthin. Oh, and those other guys. Ra?
Charge!
Sounds like we're sorting out some magic issues.
Oh, no, just general question.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that myself. Whether or not you can concentrate and rest at the same time. Because technically you are draining your fatigue while you're concentrating.
Really? How does
Well, I
meditation
mean,
work?
Well, I'm thinking if it costs you a fatigue point per minute to maintain a spell, that means you are draining up a little bit at a time.
Yeah, quite right. This would have been a spell that I was concentrating on that was coming in at a cost of 0 because of the skill level, though.
Was that the haste?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I would have gone to bed late because of that, so I'm going to spend today at a lowered maximum fatigue point.
Okay, and so you guys hit the road. Headed off to the south.
Yep.
Layden will go up ahead. He'll be taking point.
So the guy goes with you, the survivor. And his name is not Radskirta.
Oh.
If I could have thought of a way to work that in, I probably would have.
Roth.
But I want to save that for later. Yeah. So you guys arrive at the point where they got ambushed, and there's signs of an old struggle there. And he says he's guessing they went off that way. There's a bridge out that direction. Layden can get to tracking if he would like. They are not quite a day old, but it is a group of humans.
He will spend a little extra time at the actual fight ambush location just to get an idea of what went down and stuff.
That's a good idea. I'd like to do the same. Maybe get like a tactical appraisal of it.
So there'll be a +1 on that for some extra time.
Well, that combined with the survivor count, you know that the ambushers kind of came out of nowhere, well disguised. It was a short fight. Probably maybe less than a dozen.
And what I'm seeing in regards to the evidence matches with the story that we've been told.
It does. In fact, he can elaborate further. Yeah, that was me. That's where I hit the ground and where I woke up. That's my blood.
What about evidence in the setting up of the ambush? Can Laden work out whether this was, an ambush that's been planned for a long time, or it was like impromptu or improvised? Like they were walking down the road, they saw these people coming, and then quickly ducked off to the sides or whatever.
You're gonna guess that it was probably the latter. There's no sign of pre-dug hides or anything like that. And you can see where they were hiding, and it was a pretty good spot. You probably wouldn't have seen it. Well, you might have. They may have just gotten lucky.
All right. Well, then Laden will then proceed to follow their departure point.
Something else that will stand out to you is the lack of smaller sized footprints.
Oh, Laden will let everyone know it does not appear that our friend Marthin was here.
Totally going to have to round on Bob for that. Go. Oh, really?
Or maybe they carried him.
Bob's like, yeah, I remember maybe he was carried off. He was asleep the whole time. Surprised he could sleep through that.
That's going to probably spur some memory things, and I'm going to glance to Dustin like, oh, right. Your spell.
Nod.
So off you go.
Yes.
Laden takes off in that direction.
Well, we're going to follow him.
Presuming you did not bring Sir Magnus.
Why would I not bring Sir Magnus?
Well, Leodin would have told you that it was all wooded back there. It's going to be kind of hard to get the horse in and out.
No, I'll leave that to the horse.
I was going to say, it's probably the horse's call on that.
It's one of those that I suspect what I'll do. I'm not going to be riding him initially, but it's going to be, walking and go, oh man, that's going to be tough for the horse to navigate. Keep on walking, and then the horse comes around a corner and it's like, wait, where'd that come from?
Okay.
What's our NPC's name? You can't just give us an NPC and not give him a name.
I reckon you should call him Doug. He can be new Doug.
He's a real person with real feelings.
Of course.
Yeah, he's totally a blonde, isn't he? It's an ironic name.
Apparently it's got nothing to do with his hair. He could never figure out why.
All right, Red. Is he coming with us the rest of the way, or is he planning on falling back?
He was not planning on attending with you, and he wishes you all good luck.
Man, but these were your buddies.
Yeah, well, did I mention the blood? That's all mine there.
He's
I can't-
back to the Arl.
I can't put it all back in. I tried.
Brother Getwell can like wave his hand and make you better. You can't do
Can
that,
he?
right, Getwell?
I can?
Can he really?
Yeah, I guess I can.
I'm presuming he's been healed up to the extent that he can, but he was beat the crap up. He had a concussion, most definitely. He still thinks he's Batman.
In which
Don't
case,
we
he
all?
definitely wants to come with us.
You guys gonna convince him to go with you?
Not really. I'm just a little disappointed in him. Where's his sense of duty, comrades? If this was one of the PCs, I don't care if I'd be like at half move, half dodge. I'd be still going after him.
I'm not even supposed to be here.
Right. Well, let the Lord Vicar know that we're on the job.
So Leodin
That's
can
it.
give
I should
me
have Sir
a
Magnus
tracking
escort
roll.
him back. I'm gonna have Sir Magnus escort him back, and then the horse can decide whether he wants to come after me or not.
Dude starts to get on the horse down the road, and he keeps doing that step aside thing.
And then bites. Lovingly, but bites him.
So Leodin has no trouble picking up the trail, and it does indeed go straight over through a bit of wooded area through to the nearest bridge, and on the other side you pick it up once again. They weren't trying real hard to hide at that point. And it does look like one of them was carrying a bit of an extra load. Actually, a few of them were. And you continue on. So it was about 5 miles or so that would have taken you a couple of hours to get out to the ambush point. And Leodin can tell you that it was about 6 miles in across the border.
From the direction that they're heading, does it look like they're heading back to the main camp?
Your general guess is going to be that, yeah, that's probably about where they were headed. You've seen the landmarks in the area enough at this point that you got a general idea where it is. Because technically, you could get on a high enough mountain right here, and you could probably see it from here. But it was well hidden in a bit of a draw. So it's going to take you guys a few hours tracking and following through the wooded areas until you eventually reach the camp. Anybody going to be doing anything special on the way?
Attempting
A lot
to
of
predict
marching.
the weather, which I failed to roll into the box, but also failed to roll.
Well, it's very nice weather. There's whatever clouds have been here for the last week or two, they're gone right now.
All right.
Bloody nice day for a walk.
I am a cavalryman. There is never a nice day for a walk.
Yeah, not in heavy armor anyway.
A dwarven marching song will lift their spirits. March, 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 march.
So what is, before you actually get to the camp here, what is everybody's general intent at this point?
Well, first we have to find out what the camp is doing. If there's like 50 or so guys, we're clearly not going to be able to assault it.
Well, Leodin would have told you that that's at least true.
Yeah, but that was several hours ago, and the things could change.
Well, that was at least true when he last saw it.
Well, let's see. Wonder if we could actually parlay with these mercenaries.
I'd say we give it a whirl. Give us
Yeah.
our people back and go home.
Yes, I'd at least like to try that.
Everybody in general agreement with that plan?
I am.
Yes, Raina is in agreement.
If they call us Kniggets, I'm going to be a little upset.
That
Oh,
does seem
right.
like the sort of thing they would do, taunting and all that.
That's something I did mean to ask, and I completely forgot. Could I have actually spent some of my character points to like have retroactively know a little antagonese, like spoken?
I don't have a problem with that. It's not unusual. They are a commonly an enemy of Generica, so it's good to know the language of the enemy.
So I'm going to burn 2 of them to have it spoken accented, but I can't read it worth a damn.
Well, it'll use the same alphabet. But whatever, don't sweat that.
It seemed like a logical thing to do if they're a common enemy and none of us actually speak it. One of us kind of needs to speak it.
Or we just draw a picture of their faces on a slab or a piece of paper, and we punch it and point to them and say,
But I will remind everybody that everybody speaks common in Imperia. That's just generally when you have a local language, they might speak that with each other around the dinner table or something like that. But generally in daily use, they're probably going to be speaking common generic.
Sorry, can you repeat that from "you will remind"? Because my wireless decided to take that opportunity to go, "Hey, dummy, you need to plug me in." So I
Well,
dropped.
it seems legitimate. Everybody speaks common. The local languages like Antagonese for Antagonia is they'll use that around the dinner table or something like that. But in regular daily use, they're going to be speaking common. They also use that to curse in a lot.
Huh. Okay. Well, in that case, I really don't need to speak Antagonese.
If you do, they'd probably be impressed or disgusted at your pronunciation.
Well, it'll be accented, so they'll be disgusted. Screw them. They're French.
So, as you guys continue through the woodlands, Laodin says around that ridge there, that's where it's holed up, and you can see a little bit of smoke. And as you crest the hill, you see the camp before you. Your general assertion would be that it looks like it's being dismantled.
Right. Okay, so
And as you continue to scan the area, you also see that out ahead of the palisade, outside the palisade, there is a pavilion set up. There is a guy, well, actually a few guys. One in particular seems to be guarded by a couple of other who look very guard-like. Just out there, a little table, chilling, minding their own business, and there's a flag set out in front of it. It is white.
right, yeah. So I am going to I would like to do the same sort of thing. Get the little parlay flag and step into view and holding it until it's clear I'm not attacking. And the idiot downstairs car alarm is going off and it's irritating.
Yes, it is.
It's funny to hear it on both of your mics when you talk.
The seated man waves for you to approach.
All right. Well, how many are there?
3 specifically.
So we should probably go with just 3 to counter that. I'm thinking Reyna and probably Getwell, because Getwell which is ironic. This is not because they're the siblings, but because Getwell is a man of the cloth as much as he doesn't lick it and act it, and Reyna is also highborn.
Well, technically, Brother Getwell is not a man of the cloth per se, since he's not taken the vows. He is a lay member.
I almost did. Just something came up.
Was distracted that day. I don't think we know that.
Nope.
Oh dear, it's that guy.
So, just the 3 of you then. What's the rest of you gonna do?
Make sure be prepared for a potential ambush. Make sure we don't get dead. Hopefully.
You will observe it as you approach that although the camp does appear to be being torn down, there are crossbowmen on the palisade, and they are very much watching the situation.
That's okay. We've got an elf archer and a ill-tempered dwarf.
As you guys get within loud speaking range, he says, "Go ahead and tell your friends to come on. Come on."
Does he have any indication of rank or anything like that?
You would not interpret it any rank from his appearance, except that he is seated and the others are not, making you think that he is in charge.
Well, I'm wondering if I guess the appropriate thing there would be Lord. If we don't, I don't actually know. If there's no indication.
Okay, well, you were asking about rank. Status, he doesn't appear to have status. And that's not unusual in a mercenary band.
Well, I figured.
So you'd say he's probably a commoner.
Right, so I'll end up probably calling him Captain. There are 3 of you, Captain. Therefore, there are 3 of us.
That's okay. I got a bottle of 10-year-old Leroy here. You guys want a drink? You're my guest.
Yeah,
Will
Kit
kinda
Will's like already starting forward.
Nice.
That's good wine. Most definitely antagonese.
Yeah, well, I am going to be speaking to him, at least initially, in antagonese.
And he will greet you in kind. Say, you guys must be the Heroes Guild. I've heard so much about you already.
Yes, well,
Although, I figured there'd be more of you.
we have heard that frequently. We have been tasked to, or requested, we have some errant men that we would like back, if at all possible.
Are any of the rest of you actually advancing? He had waved to the rest of you to come on.
That would depend entirely on Sir Kendrick, whether he waves us over.
Yeah. Or if he turns around and nods or something like that.
I just saw Kira's comment. Yeah, that's a good one. In Latin. We need that in Latin. Oh man, I'm gonna
Pig
have.
Latin would be more appropriate.
Well, one of the people that plays in our face-to-face group actually knows Latin because she took it in college. So I'm totally gonna say, "Hey, I need this in Latin, please."
I think Google Translate will do Latin.
Yeah, but it's never always 100% right.
No, it's led me astray several times.
Like you would know.
I actually would know because I've looked at it before, and I did start taking Latin in college, and like I've tried that. It's like, hey, that's not what they say in the books that I have. What this should say.
Well, it depends on whether you're dealing with church Latin or spoken Latin. Conversational Latin. Never minding that.
Yeah, I suppose he will probably at least nod to them. And introduce himself and the company.
And in turn, he will say, "You are a guest of the Burgundian band. I am commander of this detachment, known as Malice the Clever. Not my name. Somebody else called me that. Up to you to judge."
Well, to be perfectly fair, pretending to be goblins was fairly clever.
It was a good plan, and it was working really well for a long time. But alas, the previous Arl of Northumberland had to pass on to his son, and well, his son is not his father, and he's been making life rather difficult for all manner of banditry in the area, much less good working folk like ourselves. So I'd say our time here was almost up anyway. Now, to be fair, seeing that you lot had discovered our location under normal conditions, I'd probably have to have y'all killed to prevent that from getting out. But as you can see, well, we're about to vacate this area, so it's really not as important anymore. And besides that, if we were to
somewhat difficult to kill.
Well, there's that rumor, but if we went to the trouble of killing Heroes Guild members, undoubtedly they would spring up more all over the countryside, and, well, we'd never hear the end of it.
Indeed.
So, we are perfectly willing to allow bygones to be bygones.
Well,
That sounds like a good deal.
I'm not authorized to negotiate in that for that. I can certainly carry the message back to Lord Vicar of Churchbury, of course.
Ah, the Lord Vicar. Bested us more than once now.
More than once?
Aye, well, he beat us at a bit farther north, at least a couple of times. He's been giving us grief all the way up and down the border.
Well, he does have a reputation for a fighting man.
You said something about the prisoners. I'm gonna presume you're wanting the lad back.
We would, yes. And
Yeah.
his compatriots as well, if possible.
He turns over to one of the guys, or he yells back and says, "Bring the boy out."
Martha and the Swift.
The Swift, yeah, that one's a handful. He nearly
That's
got
right.
away
He's
from
gonna
us a
have
couple of
reputation
times.
in Antagonia.
Uh,
We are totally going to give that kid a reputation in a different country as a fast runner.
you see one of the soldiers bringing Marthan out through the palisade, and Marthan's a little stumbly, and as he gets closer, you see that there's a drip of red from his lips.
What is this?
What's that? Oh, no, that's not what it looks like. After he nearly escaped a couple of times, I decided to keep him, give him all the wine he wanted.
Oh dear.
I figured if he can barely stand, he can't run away. And as Marthan is brought into the pavilion, he says, "All right, guys, I told you they would come for us." And then he nearly falls down and just decides to sit where he is and kind of lay down on the grass.
Well, and the Arlsmen?
I am disinclined to part with them. I have to recoup some of my losses with their ransom.
Seems fair under the circumstances.
That's fairly common in this era, right?
It is fairly common, and Sir Kenrick will also be aware that generally those things are going to go through the Mercenaries Guild.
Well, there's a guild for mercs too. Cool.
Yes, the Mercenaries Guild is sort of the evil opposite of the Heroes Guild, so they have a tendency to butt heads.
So we can't end up joining both and double dip?
Probably not.
But I see
Well,
there's a level of respect and following the rules.
There is. Hence hence his comments about the Heroes Guild responding.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. It's the whole. It means that it can increase the likelihood of recurring bad guys.
Indeed.
Well, how does that actually work with the ransom thing? Do they send it to somebody else, or does the guild send it, or does he have something that I can carry back to or we can carry back to the Arl?
Well, we can always just trade. We have some of his men as well.
Well, again, I don't. In this case, I think that's above our pay grade. I mean, I would tend to agree with you. You know, I don't see why you couldn't just do a prisoner exchange, but you know, in this kind of quasi-medieval setting, they got rules for everything, bro.
Oh, makes sense.
And
So
also, there is the fact that the Lord Vicar has come in and sort of taken over the operation, which means he's probably going to take the prisoners himself.
yeah, which means we're not authorized to make those negotiations. Well, but yeah, how is that? How does that work? Is there something that I can or we can take back to like the Lord Vicar to pass on to the Arl, or just say, oh yeah, it's this company or this band commanded by this dude. You need to reach out to them to get these dudes back.
Well, as far as your experience goes, you've been with the army before, and somebody would get in contact with somebody and let them know that A, these guys are alive, and B, we're willing to accept ransom, etc. And it could be from the guild, or it could be from personal message or whatever. There are a lot of different ways those contacts can be made.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then Kenrick will offer to carry any missives to the Lord Vicar.
And Malice will respond to that with, well, if you'd be so kind, then I will write you a letter.
Oh wow, he's a commoner who can actually write.
Actually, reading and writing in Generica is not uncommon.
Right, it's D&D land.
It's kind of D&D land in that way.
Where
not everybody can, but
everybody can write. And like, wait, what? I think Carrie will agree with me there. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's like 1% literacy, early medieval Europe.
We could offer to kill off a bunch of his men so he has less to pay in wages to the value of the prisoners.
It's like carbon offsets.
That seems excessive.
Oh, something else to note, that Dustin and Brother Getwell and Leodin, all three of you, felt a bit of a buzz as you got closer to the palisade. And that means this area is a bit of a mana spike.
Oh, that's cool.
How does that
You also note that at Malice's side he has a short sword, and on the other side a rod that is very intricately carved and set with stones.
Very interesting.
So, do we know anything about this Burgundian band? Apart from the fact that they're apparently antagonists, and he's not antagonist looking.
Well, being
He looks
mercenaries, they
Westerosi for
probably
some reason.
probably take all kinds, but no, you don't know this band specifically. But Brigandy is to the north of this province, and is commonly known to be a source of all manner of ne'er-do-wells that cross the border into the highlands.
So it's filled with PCs.
And probably a few of them too. So a guy returns with some writing materials, and he whips out a letter of ransom, and seals it with the seal of the band.
Damn it, we need
And
to get a seal.
well, thank you for delivering that to the Arl.
Be
And
polite.
with his well wishes. And I hope to never meet you again in battle.
Likewise.
Well, the future is weird. And then I guess we're off.
We'll collect Martin from where he is crashed.
I don't feel so good.
Point away from face.
Exactly.
Hey.
Make sure he's pointed away. Point towards enemy. Hey, Reyna. I think he looks like he's feeling ill. You should check him out.
Does Getwell have like any neutralized poison spells?
I don't remember if he did or not. Oh, indeed.
Nice.
That's good to have.
Yeah, you can cure him.
Boop.
And that totally fits for Getwell. For he's like, oh man, I'm a little drunk. Nope, not anymore.
He always wins that game.
All right, and you guys head back. So it's going to be another 2 or 3 hours back to the village.
How long before they've sort of packed up camp and moved on?
You would probably guess, Kenrick could, the two of you together sort of guess that it's probably going to be a day or two before they can really tear all that down. Depending on how much tearing down they're going to do, they could just leave, the palisade where it is. It's probably not going to be today.
Alright, Leyden is going to say to Kendrick, I will fall back to make sure we are not being followed.
Alright.
If I might suggest just letting him go at this point, because he's been more than reasonable, and because he has capabilities that are magical that I don't have a catalog of, and he may know that you're there.
He's just observing.
Well, he just said he was going to hang back.
Yes, so
Okay.
to see whether we're being followed on our way back to town.
All right.
Because he doesn't like to hang out with you people. He keeps showing back up, but he doesn't like hanging out with you people.
It's like a cat.
Kinda. That's it. Elves are cats.
No wonder I don't like elves.
They're very clean and they think they're better than you.
No. They know they're better than you.
They think they're better than you and they're assholes. Yep, they're cats.
Alright, Leodin, give me a perception roll into the box.
Into the box.
Yeah, that was a decent roll. Maybe an hour on the way back as you're hanging behind everybody, right around that stream where you nearly bit it the other day. You just caught a bit of a shadow out of the corner of your eye, back in the bushes, and you saw green reflective eyes like a cat. A number of pairs of them, and sort of a goblin-like silhouette profile, but they didn't move like those guys. You think maybe those are real goblins, but they just kind of disappeared into the shadows.
And they have been following?
Maybe, or maybe they were just there. Just kind of came out of nowhere.
Alright, well, Leyden will continue. He's trying to determine whether we're being followed. If it's just a chance encounter, then he'll give it no second thought, but he wants to know if we're being followed. Whether we're being followed by men from the camp or goblins that wish to die.
Haven't seen goblins in this parts forever.
Have you ever met a goblin that didn't wish to die? In Leodin's opinion.
Has he ever met a goblin?
I'm sure he has.
Well, there's 85 goblins have been gone for, 100 years?
Well, in these parts yet they haven't been seen. Now, they may have been seen down in Elfwood. And when humans haven't seen them around, that doesn't mean elves wouldn't. But, you know.
Do the goblins reappear?
You don't see them again. But you were looking that time.
Alright, well, once Leodin is confident that we are not being followed, he'll rejoin the group and, quite casually, as he sort of walks past Kendrick, he'll say, those woods, I believe they have real goblins in them.
Really? I think you're pulling my leg.
I have not pulled on your leg.
Raising one eyebrow.
Ah! We got a Vulcan. What happened to our elf?
He'll say, why would I do that?
It is well into the afternoon when you arrive back at Genelum. As you cross the bridge and re-enter the town, you can see somewhat beyond it that there is, in fact, an army of about 300 or 400 men-at-arms.
Well, I hope they're not going to be disappointed at not having to do anything.
They don't look like they're setting up camp or anything. They look like they're just chilling at the moment.
Right. Well, we need to seek out the Lord Vicar and pass on the ransom thing and let him know who he's dealing with. Give him a sit rep.
Master Walder will come out and greet you guys as you re-enter the town and thank you for your aid, which is apparently no longer required. Although it wouldn't hurt his feelings if you guys, stuck around for a while, kind of kept an eye out. The Lord Vickers has left for Noblum already. A raven came in earlier.
Well, apologize to Lord or Reeve Walder. He's the Reeve, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I apologize to him, but duty calls us. We have to take this nifty ransom notice on to the Arl. Did the Lord Vicar already take the prisoners?
He did.
Right.
He did. They wagoned those guys out.
Yes.
Got a nice little reunion scene with Elder and Marthen.
Well done, Marthen the Swift.
Marthen has a story to tell. Well, sort of. He slept through the battle, really. And right, and the army is going to stay here for the night, through the night, and then probably leave tomorrow.
Well, should probably reassure dude Walter that based on what we saw, those mercenaries are breaking camp and heading out. So it should be okay for a bit.
He's very happy to hear it. And sad that you won't stay. Well, at least he says he's sad you won't stay.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
You make him look bad. With your shiny hero things.
NPCs.
What is your intent at the point?
Unless anybody has any disagreements, I'm thinking we're just gonna gather up our stuff and head to Nobleum.
And our proof of the number of bandits we eliminated.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that was Aiden was doing that.
Yeah, he's got your count.
Taken care of. Good.
You guys got 19 heads.
We're rich.
Oh, speaking of that, you've also got a big ass pile of loot. Well, maybe not that big, but still, there's loot.
Decent weapons and stuff.
I know some of you were talking about keeping some things.
I got a crossbow.
Yeah, Raina picked up a crossbow.
I don't know how often I'm going to use it, because that's not a very knightly weapon.
Well, I have you with 5 crossbows.
And how many bolts?
There were 85 bolts total.
Awesome.
Also, 3 hip quivers. Actually, it should have been 5 hip quivers. 5 hip quivers. This is all on the party sheet, by the way. So anything you don't think you want, we can drop off of there. But I'm presuming at this point you're going to try to load the whole mess up, which does mean that wagon will be somewhat loaded down. So you won't be as quick as you'd probably like. And as I said, it is into the afternoon. So you'd probably, if you leave for Nobleum now, you will be camping on the way.
Well,
but you'll arrive early.
What's an arming sword?
It's basically a broadsword. Or game mechanically, it is a broadsword. Thrusting broadsword.
Gotcha. That's interesting with the party inventory. How did that happen?
I put them there?
Wow, that's a lot.
It's basically the stuff from everybody that you took down. I did not include the
our stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
So
I like the party coins though. Yeah, I didn't put those there. Yeah, it's actually reading that off the character sheets.
That's pretty cool.
That is handy.
Yeah, I guess if everybody does their party coins the same, or does their coinage the same, then it should all show up in the same thing.
Well, I didn't know how that was supposed to work, so
I didn't either.
For the currency, I just have GURPSies.
But The interesting thing to me was that we started using the coinage for plot points and that sort of thing, and it's on there.
Oh yeah, I did put that there.
Anywho, so
Cool.
time to leave. When?
Yep. We have to say our tearful goodbyes, which aren't very tearful, but at least say goodbye to Martha and the Swift.
He is
Everybody
sad
else.
and hungover.
Neutralize poison. He's fine.
Well, the hangover comes from dehydration. Or at least that's what I'm told. Seeing as I have not experienced it.
You've never had a hangover?
I've never drank.
Wow.
And all those extra brain cells he puts into running GURPS.
History will decide whether that was wasted.
You were even in the military. How could you avoid drinking?
Yeah.
Saying no. And carrying the camera so I can record everyone else getting drunk.
Ooh.
Well done. I can't imagine I know anyone that's never had a hangover, sort of in my age group.
I sort of had a little bit of one once.
Maybe it's because I'm Australian.
Yeah, you guys are descended from criminals.
That's right.
Says the
How they
American.
get their superpowers.
Says the American. All right, yeah. So say our goodbyes and head out. Is that right? Anybody else have anything they want to do here?
If Leyden can secure some arrows from the peoples, or the
You'd already been through that.
No, I mean from the army.
Oh. Well, they need them.
He just wants 4 Bodkin points.
Dude, we can get those in the actual town we're going to.
Fair enough.
Not town. Wait, is that a town or village? I don't know. Which one?
Noblem? That's a castle
like
town.
Oh yeah, Noblem. Yeah.
It is I think that would be classified as a town, whereas this would be classified as a village.
Or hamlet.
And a small one at that. Hamlet and village are technically the same thing, except in D&D they're different.
Because that's what
I suppose in D&D this might actually be a hamlet.
All right, then let us depart.
The monetary conversion is listed on the wiki, but it is 1 GURPE for copper, 4 for silver, and 80 for gold, which is different from Banestorm. But that's the Dungeon Fantasy standard.
I'm gonna call mine CP then. Not gonna spell out copper like a savage.
Well, you could be in setting and call it a farthing and a pence and a crown. All right, so you guys take off. Back on the road again. Don't start singing. Freaking hate that song.
on to the Jarl's place.
And you will travel through the rest of the day until the sun goes down. And will you push a little farther or just get on with it? Yeah, I don't freaking care. You're going to arrive tomorrow, sometime early-ish, before noon. And you will have experienced no antics as you camp. Now, where did I put that picture?
Oh, that's nice.
Back at the castle town of Noblem, sometime before noon, on the 22nd.
Since Sir Kenrick is AFK, I will speak for him and say that he wants to get this letter to the Jarl.
Straight for the castle, then?
Yep. Hey, that bridge looks familiar.
Well, they all kind of look the same. You arrive at the gate to the estate, and once again are greeted by the gate guards. They ask you your business. Presumably, you tell them you're the Heroes Guild on return from your mission, and they go fetch somebody to escort you back into the castle.
Good, good.
You see Lady Agnes emerge from the castle first, and then Master Dempsey runs past her to get to you first. Very undignified. And escorts you back into the castle. And he says he will put you guys back in the guest room momentarily. This evening, the Great Council will meet, and you are expected to attend.
Who is this? Sorry, I was AFK because I had a laundry issue.
Master Dempsey, the Chamberlain.
Right. Well, thank you. Take the opportunity to get cleaned up.
Is anyone doing anything before said meeting?
Actually, I think Kenrick would like to at least relay to the through this guy to the Arl directly that we are bearing the missive from the mercenary band about terms of ransom for his men.
Dempsey will ask if you would wish him to take it for you.
Is that I don't know. Is that appropriate?
Maybe.
Kenrick,
You weren't told not to.
Yeah, if he doesn't mind.
And he will then take that letter. And a couple hours later, you are once again summoned.
Ah, we're not in the Great Hall thing. We're in this smaller one then.
And there is indeed a meeting. The Arl is present, as is Dreama and the Lord Vicar and a few other guys that you hadn't met yet. Dreama was the other one that you guys met when you were here before.
Oh, that's like the Arl's brother or something?
It is the Arl's brother, and as you piece together, his steward.
Gotcha.
You already know Lord Vicar Romeo of Churchbury, who is the Arl's Marshal. You are also introduced to Mayor Boren of Dockport, who is the Chancellor. You've already met Densey.
Your Excellencies all around.
Patron Chapel is here. He is their chaplain. And you are already aware of the steward. You don't... There is not an official position of spy master, but you suspect, given the amount of deference, that Densey probably would fit that. As far as the council goes, he is seated. And there are a couple of other guys here as well, presumably the other lords that are not on the Privy Council, one of whom is introduced as Lord Manners of Gentleman.
Ah, hey.
And he stands and thanks you all personally for your defense of his holding, and inquires as to how Master Walder acquitted himself in battle. And you can see on his face he doesn't necessarily expect a good answer.
Kendrick is truthful. But he is polite, so he's going to straight up tell the truth, but as politely as he can without basically saying, yeah, the dude was a freaking coward.
And he will respond to that with that, yeah, I'm never going to hear the end of this.
What was the one-legged dude's name?
Elder Simpleman.
Elder, yes. So I don't know if it's no. I was about to say, suggest Elder replace him, but that's absolutely none of my business.
This is true. And with your arrival, the Arl, after introducing you, he introduces the company of the Bere. Bere. And you hear some murmurs around. One of them said, "Is that all of them?" And the Arl addresses Sir Kenrick and says, "Tell us what went on."
With the mercenary.
Tell us what you've learned.
You were pestered by the Burgundian band, my lord, commanded by Malice the Clever. Although he indicated that His Excellency, the Lord Vicar, had been rather, effective and they were about to withdraw in the first place. But he has got the men and has offered terms of ransom, which I have passed on to your guy, whose name I completely forget.
Densey.
Is it Densey?
The Chancellor.
Densey. Hey, Red. Red's with us.
Should also shout out to Bruno, who's joined us in the chat.
Hey, Bruno.
Hello.
Howdy.
Shouldn't say chat, stream.
Yeah, whatever. There's chatting and streaming both going on at the same time. Any embellishments or omissions from what you've
Nope.
experienced?
I am
Presuming not.
truthful. Which
So the Jarl...
some
Oh,
of the
go ahead.
PCs at least get well.
The Jarl is a little disappointed about the ransom thing. He's not sure where he's going to be able to scrape up the money, but he's going to try. No reason to leave them hanging.
Could he not do a prisoner exchange?
And as I was about to say, he expects he might be able to mitigate some of that by exchanging some of the prisoners back, which sadly he will not be able to legally string up. Since you guys passed by the town in the daylight this time, you will have seen some gibbets here and there with presumably thieves hanging about the town. And he is apparently very impressed with the company's service and makes it known to the council, and everybody's in general agreement. Yeah, rumph, rumph, rumph.
Give us 5 stars on Yelp.
What would be the medieval equivalent there?
Bard named Yelp.
Yeah, this bard comes in. Yeah.
Wow.
5 crowns. Wooden Trust Village again.
And they deliberate for a little while, talking about taking it to him. Well, okay, this mercenary band is, if they're truly packing up, and we'll have to send somebody to check and make sure that they're gone. But yeah, maybe at least we'll finally see the end of this bandit issue.
Yes, in Crusader Kings, he is, at parlance, he's getting rid of one of those bad things, isn't he?
He's trying, yeah. And eventually you are dismissed, and they go back to talking about the regular business. Although the Lord Vicar does make a point of letting Raina know that she's welcome to drop by his room at any time.
Hey, Getwell, you should drop by his room. Because that would be funny.
Oh, I thought you meant any of us.
She'll politely thank him and then leave. And as she turns around, her eyes are kind of wide, like, oh God.
Everybody else saw that pretty much everybody else at the table was rolling their eyes. And you guys have the guest rooms for the night. You can do as you please.
Right. Well, let's see. I guess we should check in with Aiden. At least discuss with Aiden. What is the general next step? Do we just leave and check back in, or?
Well,
Oh,
he
yeah.
has
Getwell's gonna do the thing.
Oh. Aiden will say that, well, he has, he'll probably send for us later to give an official,
Dismissal.
dismissal.
Thank you for your service.
He will declare the mission performed to his satisfaction or not. And, at that point, we will be free to go.
Engage in the old Generica tradition of the fencing of the loot.
Yeah, that does occur to me. Do we actually have anybody who's good at merchant?
I thought somebody had it.
It ain't me.
Not me.
Not it.
Now, to make use issue there, I will remind you again that they said they had a lot of people come through trying to heal that. You've never heard of anybody being able to restore someone with the sleeping sickness. But having said that,
that could become his goal.
You know that you're obviously not going to be able to just walk in there, and you will need to seek permission to attempt to treat her.
Mark, I can hear your thing actually clicking on, but I can't actually hear you say anything.
I will seek permission.
I can barely hear you.
But I did hear him that time.
How about now?
That's better. Who would you seek permission from? You'd probably have to go directly to the Arl, in which case you're going to have to talk to somebody in a position that can go fetch him for you.
Is the vicar still around? Or any of the other clergy?
Ooh, that might be
well,
interesting.
after the
that might be a good angle to go on, where he goes talk to the clergy and discusses it with them.
After the meeting is over, you will see patron chapel here and there, and you can catch him.
I mean, I would explain, that I understand that it's never, it's probably been done before, but can never give up faith and hope and such like that. That, who knows what small act of faith could potentially have a large effect.
Well, patron sermon will or not patron sermon, patron chapel will tell you all about the situation and how she's been that way for years now, and what kind of person she was before, and how much money the Arl has spent trying to get her restored with no luck at all. And he says that he can escort you, and it would never hurt to say another prayer. And so he will take you in to see her, and it is as described. She's a bit of a mess there, because she's basically been in a coma for years in a medieval situation, so you can imagine. There are ladies that wait on her, and they
probably use
like how you doing? They're like,
only
oh
after.
Man, we're gonna look around, and Getwell and Romeo are gonna go high five.
And you can cast your spell if you like.
Is it possible to get any kind of boosts in spellcasting? Like, I know they have like circles or symbol drawing or that kind of thing.
You can actually do a ritual casting. I think that's what they refer to it as, ritual casting, where you get a bunch of people involved and you can actually pump more fatigue into it based on from the other people.
And if you get enough fatigue, it increases your effective skill.
And Patron Chapel will say that we've done that before as well. We've had 100 people squeezed into this damn room.
But never a PC.
Well, who knows?
Sounds more like a curse than an illness.
It is a magical illness, which is why it's so damn difficult to heal.
Right. So now Get Well is gonna have you need to have a vow or obsession or goal or something. No, wait, first you have to find somebody that you're really enamored of who's suffering from it. So the Arl's wife needs to be super uber hot for Get Well Caesar and just goes, "Ugh!"
Only
the
if it
big
was like
heart.
the daughter or something. Because, well, she is technically married.
Yeah,
Yep,
but
still
sure,
married.
by Mr. Vice Guy.
Yes. The Arl apparently greatly resisted Romeo's offers to help here. He didn't want to leave him in the room alone with her.
Oh, man.
What are you doing? What? This is probably what it looks like.
Wow.
You know what? I'm going to roll this in the box.
Do that.
The GM can laugh if it's an 18. Wasn't it 18? Please tell me it was
Brother
an 18.
Get Well explodes.
It was
He screwed up, wouldn't it? No, wait.
make you does not appear to have made it worse.
Does the casting of this ever ease the stuff, at least temporarily? Or is she just pretty much stuck there?
She's pretty much stuck. It's totally a Snow White thing here.
Right. I think that needs to become our next our next objective is to find a cure.
Yeah. Makey's probably familiar with the illness as well. I'm sure at St. Medica's they've had a number of those cases come in, and they've never been able to cure it either. And they've spent a lot of time researching, so you've probably been a part of that. You may actually know a little bit more about this disease. Anybody else doing anything for the evening?
I do have a question. Based on the map here, it sort of looks like. Am I correct in presuming this place is sort of similar to Dragonstone, where it's got the overlooking the bay and stuff like that?
Yes, it is. It is on the coast
Right.
of the Imperial Sea, and
Kenrick
I
is
am.
from the woodlands, so
Oh,
he's
right.
going to go and look at the ocean.
And
neat to him.
I acknowledge that you went through the town and you saw things. Like I said, it's very clear that they're cracking down on crime around here.
To go do that brooding thing with Tyrion and Jon. I came here to brood, but you do it much better. See, there you go, Mark. You're already starting to think about how to fix this.
Makey will also have encountered the kitchen girls on his way around the castle, and they stop him and say, "You must come by tonight and tell us your new stories."
And he will.
And assuming nobody else has anything in specific to do, the sun will be going down, or nearly so, when you are fetched again to the solarium to meet with the Arl. And as you enter, he's happy to see you and congratulates you on your successful completion of the mission. He's very satisfied, and has some writing stuff ready to go, and writes a letter of recommendation to the Heroes Guild.
There's our Yelp review.
saying what a fine job you did. And
5 rounds, we'll hire to, what was that again, John? We'll hire to defend village again?
Yeah.
Nice.
And as he's signing off on the letter, he kind of stops a little bit and says, "You know, I could use some folks like you here if you're interested in entering my service at some point. I realize that means you would have to leave the guild, but so don't make a rush decision. There's plenty of time to think about it, but if you're interested, I think I'd be glad to have you."
We definitely appreciate the offer, my lord. Is he my lord, or is he your grace? I can't remember.
My lord.
My lord.
And with that, he dismisses you, says you guys are free to go or stay the night, and you can use the guest room, and do stop by the kitchen before you leave, and we will provision you for your journey home.
Greatly appreciated. Yeah, with your
Thank
you very
permission,
much.
we'll stay for the evening.
And as you guys are kind of walking out of the room, he, Brother Cleric, could you stay for a moment?
You're in trouble.
And he kind of like looks like I didn't do it. Okay. Like
He very briefly concerned about your well-being, but he puts a hand on your shoulder and tells you that he appreciates the attempt on his wife's behalf, and you realize it's probably a lost cause, but every little bit helps, perhaps.
well, and Getwell will say something, along the lines of nothing's a lost cause as long as there's life and faith, etc., etc.
And when he ends that, Kenrick will be still slightly in earshot, and will go, "My lord."
My lord.
So, you guys stay the night in the castle?
Yep.
Yeah.
Question mark? Yes. Make you take some time out in the evening to go visit the kitchens, and tells his story to a rapt audience. And the morning comes.
Leiden wishes to secure some arrows.
Laodin will have time to go into town and get him some damn arrows. They are human make, so you probably don't like them all that much, but they will stick into people.
I sort of foresee this whole sleeping sickness becoming Getwell's whale.
Yeah, there are 2 magical illnesses that I have listed right now. The sleeping sickness being one, and the burning pox being the other. But there are more than just those. And when they hit, they're nasty. Because most of your
Burning
normal stuff,
pox.
you can just wave a hand and they're gone.
Burning pox just sounds bad.
Doesn't it?
I mean, the
Sounds
sleeping
worse than
sickness.
regular pox.
Yeah, the sleeping sickness. It's like, yeah, that sounds kind of bad, but they're asleep, and okay, so. But the burning pox, just like, you've got the pox and you're on fire.
Oh, I thought that was an STD.
It could be one of those too.
That's different. That one's not magical.
Clearly, you're doing it wrong. But boom.
Heyo.
It might feel magical. Not in the good way.
Are there any objections to Laodin taking a large knife to exchange for some arrows?
No.
Oh, are you dipping into company funds already?
That's fine.
Yeah, Leiden's broke.
Can you actually change the numbers on those?
No, but I do think you can drag onto your character sheet.
Just wonder if it pulls all of them or just one or what.
Well, let's try.
Yeah, no, one of the other things Makey will note from his discussions with Patron Chapel is that the Arl was especially screwed over by this whole sleeping sickness thing because he only had the one heir, and if something happens to him, his wife is no longer to bear him any children.
Well,
So he's an honorable dude.
His wife can no longer bear him any legitimate children.
Well.
Oh my god. Sorry, Getwell isn't going to be able to find the cure, and we're never going to learn that he's a sibling because we're going to chuck him off the wall.
Okay, so
He's not wrong.
Well,
and apparently we're going to have to chuck Dustin off the wall too.
I'm not recommending you go that far. I'm just saying that the technical aspects of that would still work.
Pow! Wham! Straight to the moon.
So, in the morning, you guys are free to leave. You stop by the kitchen and gear up.
And I'm totally going to note the kitchen chick is making goo-goo eyes at Make You. And it's a little creepy.
That is totally happening.
I'm going to give Getwell my scally face.
Getwell gives Kendrick his yeah face.
Oh god.
What? And now the return trip.
Which way is most likely for us to get hit by bandits? We want to take that way.
Well, it happens that the long way that you took here is A, the most likely to get you hit by bandits, and B, the only way you can take the donkey back to the inn.
Right.
So I'm presuming at this point you will be taking the long way back again.
Yeah, we do have to return borrowed donkey.
And it will be a bit slower because he's loaded down.
Oh,
but
maybe we should sell our loot here instead.
It could take a while, but you
Because
could.
We won't be able to carry it from the inn
Well-
on our backs.
We wouldn't want bandits who waylay us to have to carry away heavy loot. Let's give them coins instead.
Of course,
Exactly.
Makey's probably been saying something like, I don't know if I want to get rid of the donkey. I kind of like him.
We just gotta. Well, that's gonna sound weird. Kind of cute in a donkey kind of way.
Well,
Man,
we could.
you're weird.
Who's a good donkey? Who's
He's
I
an
think we
ass
could.
And then Getwell does the finger guns towards Murdoch when he says that. Chow.
Yes, I don't think there's gunpowder, but he would definitely have finger guns.
I don't know. Is there gunpowder anywhere?
Dwarves.
Dwarven, yeah.
Sweet. Dwarven musketeers.
Yeah, the donkey's the weirdest thing. It's so even-tempered. It just like it doesn't complain about anything. It just does its thing and keeps going.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Is Leiden able to exchange a large knife for 4 arrows?
Does Leoden get help?
No. Not unless someone wishes to come. Actually, no, probably not.
Then
Everybody
Leodin will be able to exchange 4 arrows for a large knife.
And that was probably way oversold.
And if he tells anybody about it,
Absolutely.
he will say, "You got robbed, dude."
Well, that guy was like, "You want to exchange that knife for 4 arrows?" Yes. Okay.
Leiden will just shrug.
Eh,
Yeah, I think.
no sweat off my back.
Yeah, if we could, maybe we can sell as much here as we can, and then like maybe use those fundages to buy the donkey.
You do know that it's going to be a lot easier to sell this stuff off in the capital, and you're going to get a better price for it.
But we have to drop the donkey off at the inn, which is on the way to the capital.
How much does the donkey
Well,
cost?
Meta information. You know that Mayhew has actually purchased the donkey with character points at this point, so
Right.
the donkey
So
will stay.
We get there, and the dude's like, "I don't want that damn thing back. It creeps me out. It's all even-tempered and crap. It's a donkey."
I let you
And then
borrow
you-
it because I thought you would get it killed.
And then everyone notices Getwell feeds some kind of like green herb to the donkey. I'm totally understanding.
I wish I thought of that.
Oh my
Wagon
God.
loves this stuff.
You're getting
Okay,
your
if the-
donkey
if-
high.
If
Well,
the
look at
donkey
it. It's
starts
like a long-haired
making,
hippie.
if the donkey starts making googly eyes at Makey, I'm done. Sorry.
The donkey
know
eats a
if he
lot,
did?
though.
Finger hooves.
Right. Okay. So in that case, let's keep the stuff and take it to the capital. We'll figure out once we get to the inn how we're probably like thinking, how do we talk the guy into letting us buy the donkey from him? And then he's like, "God, I don't want that thing back. Look at it."
All right, so from my rough calculation here, it's going to take you 4 days to get back to the capital with the load, and 3 days of that will get you to the inn.
Can we potentially sell some of the gear and get a donkey cart?
I have no idea how much a cart costs.
Why do we need a cart?
A donkey cart, because we can carry the rest of the stuff easier. We sell a portion of their stuff, and that ups our speed again.
Well, we don't need to sell any of it here if we're going to take it to the capital and get a better price.
True.
And we got it this far without a cart.
I mean, I'm just throwing things up.
You just want a cart. Answer's no.
You already got wagon.
It's true. But once you
You
have
should-
one thing, you want the next. Soon, this is going to be a battle donkey. It's going to be armor.
Battle donkey. I could just see that now. It's kitted out like a damn cataphracti.
But he's high.
And he's very mellow.
Mellow.
Daniel, you should put a scale on the travel map and turn off.
Oh, I thought I did. No, that's right.
Turn off. What is it? Snap to grid.
Yeah, I had set this grid up while the layers were still on because I was back and forth trying to figure out whether or not I can make that work. Let's see, those are going to be 30. There, how about now?
Snap to grid still on.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, you have to like plus the grid, minus the grid.
I know. Shush! I'm getting there.
Perfect. And you may want to remove the range penalty.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was right.
Oh, right, range.
Oh, maybe we need to launch an arrow 30 miles at a negative 30.
It's only negative 30?
Well, it still counts it as yards, no matter what you put.
That's true.
Range purposes.
No, it calculates it, the range penalty correctly.
Does it really?
Yeah. So,
Oh.
30 or whatever it was, is a minus 30.
Oh, okay, cool.
Artillery purposes.
You got to remember the range penalties are somewhat logarithmic.
Yeah.
Doing the thing. You have to camp a couple of nights because you're in between places. Day 2, you hit the edge of Timberwood, which you know is into Stronghold. You meet travelers, you meet patrols. Toward the end of day 3, you hit the inn once again.
And it's burned to the ground.
It is not burned to the ground.
Oh, it's burned to the ground because the donkey was the only thing protecting it.
Did you hit your head?
Many times.
Maybe.
That didn't make any sense.
Hey, it's a donkey. It's a magic donkey. Look at its hair.
It's got dreads.
That's a llama.
The donkey that wants
That would be
Llama
hilarious.
cosplay.
Oh man, that's what it needs to be. It needs to be a llama instead.
It's actually a freaking llama. That is
I'm
the
so
ugliest
excited.
donkey I've ever seen.
But it's so cool. Look at this. She spits and everything. I'm totally changing her to a llama.
Or a donkey that wants to be a llama.
Llama mistaken for donkey.
It's a
They're
lonky.
pack animals.
Mm-hmm. They're extremely agile mountain pack animals.
That is the expression that goes along with finger hooves.
This is true.
If one eye could wink.
New portrait.
Yep. I'm saving it now.
Awesome.
Oh, I gotta back up a little bit. Not to the end yet. Diddly dee, diddly dee. Alright, let's see. I'd say probably into day 2. Around midday, you guys are walking down the road. And nobody else really notices, but Murdoch will notice that his facial scars have started to itch a little bit. And it's been getting worse throughout the day. And he didn't think anything of it originally, but as he's going along, he starts to remember, because it's been a while, but he knows that used to happen when he was around the plague.
Yeah.
And it's getting pretty bad. So you know when you're starting to get close to wherever it is. Is he gonna make any sort of attempt to hide this or talk about it?
He will hide it for a while, and then what time of day?
Yeah, midday-ish.
How far would we be from the next civilized outpost?
Well, you see towns either on the road, a little bit off the road, near the road, all over the place. Like every couple of miles, you're going to see some kind of civilization. Rural population here is relatively dense.
Then he'll have to sidle up to Kenrick and have a quiet word.
What do you tell him?
Say, laddie, I got a bad feeling. The old scars are itching.
Okay.
Feels like Pox country.
Is this dwarf hitting on me?
Pox country. How the heck do I react to that?
Well, let's see. He's talking about his scars relating to the pox. Would he put that together?
I thought that was common knowledge in the party that these scars are burning pox scars.
No, that is not common knowledge to the party. That is common knowledge to the players.
Nope.
Don't they know what burning pox looks like?
Yep, I do. I just been polite.
Now you're gonna point at him and go, unclean!
Burn it!
Now that we've got our loot together. See, divided 7 ways. Ooh, divided 6.
No, his
simpler when it's even.
His scars would appear to most people as actual burn scars. It's not typical of the pox to go that way.
I do not understand. How does that attest to? How do you detect pox country?
These scars here, they come from the pox.
Yeah.
Okay, now, John, I would remind you that if your secret is revealed, bad things will happen.
Mm-hmm. But everyone everywhere knows about pox.
Yeah, but not everyone everywhere knows you're connected to it.
We're gonna have to burn him. That's gonna be a great ending to a run where we like murder another PC. Not kill, straight up murder.
While you guys have been talking about this, Laden has quite casually been sharpening one of his best arrows. But if that's a secret, it is your character has to try to keep it such.
Well, I suppose you don't have to. It's going to get converted to bad things if the secret becomes public knowledge. And everyone you tell, that's a chance for it to become public knowledge.
Okay, I thought I was just another person marked by the burning pox. But those people tend to be dead.
Yeah, there are people that survive the pox, but not so many of them.
Okay, then as a secret, I would have kept this. Never mind.
All right, so he doesn't tell anybody.
I said fox. I see a fox over there.
All right, well, moving on. As you continue down the road, Murdoch being oddly silent, you arrive at a crossroad near where a village is just off the road a bit. You can see it there. And there are a couple of guys out in the field near the crossroad. Appear to be burying or digging a grave. there is a shrouded body near them. And Murdoch at this point, his pox detector is going off.
So he just keeps adjusting his helmet and so he can scratch his face.
Right. Well, let's just pass on by.
Not stopping.
Well,
Okay.
if there's a burial, I'll ask Kendrick. If you want to keep going, please do. I'm just gonna go give some quick last rites, as I don't see another, brother, man of the cloth nearby.
Sure.
Aiden will stop and say, "Yeah, I'll go with you."
All right. And we'll make our presence known, and hail, well met, and the father or the son, and son and the rest of the pantheon shine upon you this day. Such and such a grief,
As you guys are approaching, there's two guys doing the digging here, and they say, "Keep your distance, brother cleric. This man has suffered from the burning pox."
Then, like, both priests spring back, like, well, he's screwed.
Goo! It's like,
Now,
but we still, he won't go any further, but he'll do the look to Aiden kind of thing, like, this is not a good place to be, but we'll still bless.
Yeah. Aiden crosses himself, and you guys know that although the plague itself is basically over 30 years ago, but there are still pockets that will pop up here and there from time to time, so it's not that weird. But it is known to be highly contagious, as you might expect.
I'm guessing burning the bodies is probably a very bad idea, because it probably spreads it, being the burning pox.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Let's see, do I have anything that I can boost their health with?
Did everybody stop, or did you just keep going?
Probably, basically slow up and wait for him, because he's the one driving the wagon.
Laden will park himself on a rock then.
He'll just take a moment, and as he doesn't have anything that can boost their health scores or anything, he'll go ahead and say a quick prayer over, and then of protection over the guys, and let the soul go on to better pastures.
There's one guy doing the digging right now. The other one's resting. The guy that's resting greets you and says, "Yeah, don't worry about us. We've already survived the pox way back when. We're in tune with the pox."
That is all well and good.
Pox men.
Wasn't easy though. Aiden's like, "You mean immune?" "That's what I said." Yeah, this guy we just found him wandering on the streets, and he just fell over, and turned out it was the pox.
From where did he come?
Nobody knows. Nobody knew this man.
I will do the hike up my shirt a little more over my the nose and mouth, and go take a look to see if I can at least glean maybe nationality or.
You gonna pull the shroud down?
Oh, I'll use the staff to do it. I wouldn't expect him at 11, but I'd have 11 foot pole,
Chicken.
but I only have a 10, so or whatever.
Yeah,
This
give me
guy's
a.
totally like the sheriff in Jaws. They're trying to cover up the plague in their little village.
I'd probably normally have you give me a fright check or something because it's pretty rough looking. That guy has not had a good life at the end of it.
So
Are there any other recent burials around that obviously turned Earth?
Not that you're aware of. From what they were saying, they just kind of buried him where they found him. But as you're looking around, Murdoch, the guy in the shroud sort of sits up, bolts up in his at his seat there.
Mm-hmm.
The shroud falls off his face and it's all ugly and shit and scarred, and he looks right at you and says, "I'm not done with you yet, Pebbles. I'll find you."
Yeah.
That's definitely a fright check for people.
It is,
Unsettling.
except nobody else saw that.
oh, okay.
So it's just a fright check for Murdoch.
Yeah, Murdoch
Yeah.
needs to give me a fright check.
He's the one that
I
gets
think
to
it
make
might
the
be,
girlish scream.
Since it's obviously connected with my secret, that might be worth a penalty even.
I have that in mind.
I guess the camera zooms in on Murdoch's face and you see him gritting his teeth.
His
And he covers
eyes
it by
definitely wide,
adjusting
get
his
wide.
helmet again. Yeah.
Okay. I decided that you would not have a penalty on this because you have seen this before, although it's been a really long time. Somehow the demon is able to communicate through that plague, and it always knows when you're there.
Hang about. Is maximum fright check a 13 or a 14?
Yes, 13.
He
13.
he got just under the cap.
All right.
So Murdoch doesn't wet himself, but he surely didn't enjoy that, and he probably squeaked a little bit. Anybody around him could have made a body language or some sort of perception check to know what just happened. Not just what happened, to notice that he had just been afraid of something.
I like
He seems to not be taking the plague thing too well.
Hey, at least the llama doesn't need to drink as much water. Basically,
True.
like a furry, small camel.
Well, yeah.
You mean?
Whatever. A really ugly donkey.
And it's chummy.
I think that's a lot of the animals because I'm fairly certain horses have that as well.
Well, they're herd animals, so yeah, they're chummy with other llamas.
Yeah, Magnus has chummy. He also has bites lovingly.
Yeah,
Oh.
Dustin definitely could tell that Murdoch just got scared of something there.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume it's the plague, the pox. I don't make much of it.
Clearly, he has some kind of past bad incident with the pox.
Dustin will remember that scared you.
At any rate, nothing interesting other than that happens. The two clerics have seen a rather grisly corpse, but they've got a few more feet to go before they're done digging, and they appreciate the prayers and attention.
any noticeable like nationality from the corpse that we can see?
He looks like a bubble man.
A bubble man.
Like a toxic Avenger or something.
What about
Stay
the
puffed,
clothes?
Marshmallow
Hey,
Man.
guys!
Not so much marshmallow. Alright, so. Day later. Back to the inn. So you guys will be here at the evening. You know that you won't be getting a freebie this time. So whether or not you stay here is depends on your arrangements. But you can at least drop off the donkey or whatever that is.
How much does it end up costing to for everybody?
Well,
Hey, GURPS.
so the way this is going to work is Com Junkie has paid character points for that ally.
For staying.
No. Oh, that. Crap. You know, I had that written down at one point.
You should have that written down.
There's going to be a number of silvers per head per night, like 1 or 2. I don't remember. I'll get that for you in a minute. But as far as the donkey goes, let me just call it wagon. Basically, your character points mean that you have something on you that you can trade to purchase it. Whatever that is up to you.
I know what it is. I healed his sick daughter. Boom.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, you get back in there and she's really, really sick. And then him being a piece of crap, he does more than heal her.
Oh, come on!
He's not that bad.
I mean, is she like super, super hot and like of age?
Yeah, but that
that
was
bad?
fever.
Dude, she's an innkeeper's daughter in a fantasy game.
That's true. She's really hot and she's of age. So it's so wrong.
Yeah.
So Layden's
You're
going
a
to cut
piece
your
of crap.
grass.
Sorry, I'm looking for something.
There's something wrong with your donkey.
She's beautiful, alright? Face is -5, right?
Do it?
Never mind, I got it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you realize that llamas have targeted attack spit face?
Oh. That's about right.
This is gonna be awesome.
Well, I can't find where in my damn notes I actually put the price for the ends, but it is like 1 or 2 silver per head, depending on 4 GURPS each, 4 to 8. Actually, yeah, that's what it was. It was like 5 to 10 GURPS, I think, per man, depending on common room or actual room. And Layden remembers he didn't sleep all that well here last time.
What is Magnus's intelligence? Just a question.
6, I think, maybe 7. I don't remember. You look. Yeah, it was 6. I wanted to actually increase that, but gotta gain the points for it.
Right.
Hey, I got a break for a second here.
Wagon's almost is just as smart as Magus. Ha!
So I can probably cover the rooms.
Right, back. So
it's 10 per. Presuming Leodin is like, screw all this noise, I'm going to sleep outdoors, because that's what he does. What about stabling?
I'm going to assume that's included.
The typical cost of an inn is 20% of your monthly cost of living.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's way too high.
Because it's like, you got to figure out math in the middle of the game. That's dumb.
Well, normally you're going to sort that out somewhere else. But in this particular case, I did look it up, and it was between 5, 10, and 15, depending on the level of room you're in. I just don't remember where I saw that.
50 GURPSes.
Yeah.
If Leodin is sleeping outside like he is wont to do.
So that's good enough for now.
Right. Yeah, I can cover that.
Just this once. All right, so you stay the night. Make you exchanges services for the more permanent use of wagon, and your business with the innkeep is concluded. And you leave behind the 2 burning cocks and hit the road once again.
We have to pass. We have to pass through this place again in about 3 months game time. So poor Getwell goes, "Oh crap! The innkeeper's daughter's pregnant." Make a note, Daniel.
She was like 12.
You're gross, man.
Medieval era, different standards.
On you go, and by the end of the day, you are crossing around the King's Lake in very familiar territory. And you see out ahead of you the magnificent city of the capital.
We pause and say, "The capital." Because that's what you do.
It's only a model.
But 'tis a silly place.
The Castle Royal gleaming in the distance.
On we go.
And you ride straight up to the Heroes Guild?
Totally.
Oh, that was a question. Yeah.
There was a question mark on that.
Yeah, I didn't hear the question mark. So yeah, on to the Adventurers Guild, not the Heroes Guild.
Whatever.
And everybody corrects him, and he's like, "Damn it!"
I see you have returned. I will let Master Valorous know that you have arrived.
We have indeed, and I don't know what's the standard practice with our Yelp review. Do we just give it to him, or do we give it to Valorous?
You'll give it to Valorous when you talk to him, which will be shortly.
Well, Aiden, I hope you're going to give us a thumbs up.
Well, you'll see, won't you? He says in an awkward, joking manner because he's not good at jokes. You are then escorted to the hall where Valorous is settling into the chair at the end at the table and says, "Well, you're here. That seems to have gone well. Nobody's bleeding."
Nope.
Let's see what. And Aiden asks for the letter, and we'll hand it off.
Here's our 5-star review from Yelp.
And Valorous takes a good minute to go over the letter and seems satisfied with its contents. Says, "Well, his lordship seemed to think well of your efforts. Brother Aiden, what say you?" And
oh my God, these guys are idiots.
Aiden says, "I counted 19 heads, and they also were responsible for the lair being removed. So they've qualified for the additional. And my overall opinion is good. They performed admirably at all tasks. They were professional, and well, frankly, that was much easier than the last time."
We all puff up a little bit.
You can see Valorous is like, "Yeah, well, the last time. I'm still sorry about that."
Wow, now we're all like, we could stand to hear a little more.
And he signs some stuff and does some stuff and says, "All right, well, mission successful. You can go see Master Kristen about your reward and take this with you."
Thank you kindly, Master Valorous.
And you go see the Seneschal of the Heroes Guild, and
Damn, he looks older than before.
He reads out the stuff there and counts out 19 coins. Actually, counts out 20 coins, but one of them set aside for Aiden. And then after that's counted, he counts out 6 more, 1 each for the bonus. And then he goes to Aiden and says, "Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for 6 returned intact."
So a total of 26. And
Well, the 6 for Aiden are for Aiden, but
no, but
yeah, you'd
you
be.
said 20 and then 6. So is it total of 20?
It's gonna be 25 for you, I guess. Yeah. Because you guys got 19, Aiden got 1.
Huzzah.
And after that, he says, "Do you guys have any loot you want to sell?"
Well, we got a wagon of it.
Sort of.
Not selling wagon.
Wagon full of it.
Donkey.
All right, we'll bring it around back. We'll have a look at it, see what we can make of it.
It's a donkey named Wagon.
Oh,
And
right.
a bit later, you guys circle around to the back, and he comes out. It's like, holy shit! What the hell is that? That's not a damn donkey.
I thought
Sure
it
it
looked kind of weird.
It's ugly.
The thing's eyeing me funny. I don't know. Maybe you get used to it.
It's got like a beard like you do.
It's a donka.
So he looks over the gear. Says, "Well, this stuff is pretty well used, but it's not in bad condition. Looks like it's well kept."
Mercenary.
I think that's probably a bit more than we can buy here, but I'll give you the name of the. Go see Lucky on Arms Row, and he'll square you away. Tell him you want guild prices. He'll get you a good deal.
Outstanding.
And with that, I'm going to see how the hell this party sheet thing works. So the travel map needs to come off there, I think.
It doesn't seem to really update in real time.
Well, there's this percentage over here, so I'm going to change that to, let's go 60%. Seems about right. And sell items. Wait. Oh, some of these crossbows are gone. How many crossbows did we lose? Kendrick had 1, Rena had 1.
I think that was it. Just those 2. They would have
Quivers with them, and probably 20 apiece on the bolts. It's going to be 45.
And belt hooks, probably?
Right. Yeah, I might as well take those. All right, so 60% of that. Push the button. Wow.
Neat.
That is freaking cool. Given if you were going to split that 6 ways, it's probably about, well, actually it's a little over a month, maybe a month and a half living. It turned out actually better than I expected.
Kinnick's totally buying our drinks now. I know the place to go.
Why didn't it sell the crossbow bolts?
That's a good... Oh, I bet I didn't have a price on those.
I hope we keep some of them.
He had already taken out the ones that you guys kept.
Interesting. So, so the question is, do you split it now, or split it later?
I would assume that we deduct whatever was paid for wagon and split the rest.
And Aiden will refuse if you even suggest him getting a share of it. He says his business is a church.
Well, Kendrick would have probably been the one to offer that, simply because he's the honest, trustworthy sort.
He will refuse. He's paid by the church, or covered by the church, so he doesn't actually pay his own way generally. And he's not on your charter. Now, as far as the way things get split up, on your charter, you've already got how you do that. Whether everybody gets an even share or how the hell that works and when you split it up and that sort of thing. We don't need to figure that out, but if you want to split it up now, you split it up now. So, if you are going to split it up, then tell me and I will remove this from the party.
Let's split it now.
Poor. Yeah, I would like my cut.
Split it.
So be it. So apparently that comes to 1,300. So that's actually going to be 2 months cost of living for anybody who's status 0. Status 1 and 2 will be somewhat different. And you can't quite buy a horse with that.
Unless you cheat and use an ally.
Well, you could always get, work together. Ooh, how about a donkey cart?
No!
That's another matter. Now, I will say this for future reference, that you do now have 25 guild coins, and you can use those to get things. You're probably not going to be able to buy a horse with one, but you can definitely purchase the use of a horse with one.
Horse asterisk. It's another llama.
It's probably not going to be another llama.
It'll be a camel.
Because you have no freaking clue where the hell that came from.
Why do you think that dude was wanting to get rid of it?
Like, this doesn't work like a...
There's something wrong with your donkey, man.
You said we have 25 guild coins as a group, right?
As a group. Actually, I take that back. You have 19 as a group, and technically you have one each.
Oh, okay.
Personal. Those were for you. You can keep them in the company pot if you want to. Actually, I'm going to put that on the character thing.
I'm going to put it on my currency.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 19.
So we all got one guild coin, and the company got the rest.
Yeah, so you got one each for personal use, and the rest of them are for company use. All right, so that's now on the party sheet, and that'll be there for later.
And you can hit, I think, distribute the money.
Oh, can you?
I think
Well,
so.
don't.
Well, not.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to do that now, but for future reference.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
I
ahead.
had the
I'm
same
taking
thing.
my money. I'm putting my money on my card.
Shall
All
we
right,
do that?
well, yeah, everybody's taking their cut, so go ahead and put it down, because you may end up having to buy some shit.
First thing Lairden does with his money is go and upgrade his arrows to ones that break less.
It's going to Disneyland.
Can Lairden buy fine arrows without a problem?
Oh yeah,
We survived.
yeah. You can get whatever the hell. You can get whatever the hell you want here in the capital. So, with that, that is the official end of the adventure. We will take a 5-minute break, and I got some debrief to do.
All right.
Yay. Well done, everybody.
Yeah.
On break.
Remember to set your AFK so we know who's actually back and who's not.
I really don't need to do the vote, but I'll do it anyway.
We are live
So you
again.
need all of that, Daniel.
Oh crap! Now I
Start from the beginning.
have to go back.
1
Yeah,
point now.
Everybody got 1
later.
point for the end. What I forgot to say was everybody will also gain 1 level in Heroes Guild rank.
Oh,
So
cool.
everybody's going to go to 1 for free.
Ooh.
Was it normally 5 per?
I don't think it's 5 per. I think it's like 2 or 3, but I'd have to check.
Rank
No,
is
like
usually
collect-
5.
Yeah, rank is usually 5.
Right, but
just
I'm using the alternative cost for that because 5 is way too much.
So rank 1 for 1.
No, it's either 2 or 3. I think it's 3.
I think
But
it's
we're
3.
not paying for it anyway.
And since you're getting it for free, it really doesn't matter.
It was 2 per.
I think is that what I said the Craft Guild or the not Craftsmiths Guild was 2?
Oh, I didn't know there was a difference.
Why is there an unnamed person in here?
It's Mark. Probably.
Is this courtesy rank or actual rank?
No, this is actual rank.
And it's rank 1, not rank 0?
Yes. Currently you all have rank 0, now you have 1.
Rank is 5 or 10 points per level.
Right, normally
Page
yes.
29 of basic.
This is not normal. This is from social engineering.
Here's your post. Guild rank 2 per level. Magical rank is 3 per level.
Yeah, it's going to be
Gotcha.
guild rank. What did you do with Wagon?
I actually created a llama.
Oh,
based on
you
the-
okay? You changed the stats.
You eated him.
Even tastes funny.
Right. So, as I was saying, or as I am repeating, it's going to be a couple of months between adventures here, and you will have to do the cost of living. And refer back to Dungeon Fantasy for that if you have questions, because that's going to be the basis. And I know they go over that stuff. And Dustin will be able to update his rank in the Wizards Guild, but he has opted not to do that. Reyna can also rank up in the weapon school, her sword school, and or take things like patron or whatever related to the school.
Does the Heroes Guild pay a wage?
No.
Alright, in that 2 months, can Leoden try and find some work as like a scout or something like that?
I'm going to presume you guys can find, if you have the skills for a profession, you can find some work to do that.
Mini
I think Dungeon Fantasy also covers that, so you'll want to refer back to that again. But whatever's possible there should be good to go. Now there is also...
Is that the Dungeon Fantasy RPG or the actual Dungeon Fantasy?
Not not DFRPG. I'm not familiar with it.
Because I haven't got those books yet.
Right, just standard GURPS.
Sucks to live on the upside down part of the world, doesn't it, Brian?
I don't mind the upside down.
Everything's backwards.
I don't know. I've seen Stranger Things. The upside down kind of freaks the hell out of me.
Yeah, Murdoch could also rank up in the Smith's Guild if he wanted, although in his case, he's at the level where he needs to create his masterpiece in order to advance.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as it turns out, is not what it sounds like.
No, I'm going to need to eat lots of fiber for the next month.
Let's see. And then Makyu can also rank up in religious rank if he actually wants to take his vows, or go up in lay rank. There is actually a lay rank. I think he's got lay rank right now.
I think I'll take an increase in lay rank. Lay rank. Yeah.
Which he'll never stop saying. And Laodin could also potentially.
I'm a lay brother. Yeah.
Laodin could also potentially rank up in the Rangers.
And that's for lay rank. It's how many points per?
I'll have to check that. I don't know if that's different from plain old religious rank.
That's interesting. Everybody in the group except Kenrick is in something where you can rank up.
Well, I suppose Kenrick is sort of got feudal rank in a manner of speaking.
If he ranks up, he's going to have frickin' land.
Well, Laden's no longer with the Rangers.
Well, if he's going to actually abandon the Rangers, then that's another matter.
I think Murdoch won't be buying guild ranks either, since he's just going to lose them when his secret comes out.
Yeah, not necessarily. He just has to keep his secret.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw how well that worked tonight.
That's just because the player got confused.
Uh-huh.
All right, so the other thing I was starting to talk about was player hooks, or PC's individual plot hooks. So Murdoch has his secret issue and his search for his brother. Dustin has school and things relating to that. Reyna has getting her land back. Kenrick has maybe getting some land at all.
Well, Kenrick's initial is he's trying to make enough money and work his way up in the lancing circuit, for lack of a better term, the tourney thing, to be in a grand tourney.
Get well, I'm not so sure about. I don't think he was. Well, not so much for the money, but for your personal plot hook. I don't think he was actively trying to find his mother necessarily.
No, but he would definitely. He's probably more interested in whatever tasks that the guild hall would have for him. Probably doing stuff that's local, unless he can get the group to go along with something.
Well, one of the things I wanted to do was to get into that whole personal plots business that we had encountered before, and I finally found this stupid thing on the boards, and now I don't remember where the hell it was. But whatever. At some point I would kind of like to do that again, but we'll have to see if you guys can even come up with it.
Yeah, Kenrick would like to get some land. So I can change my thing from Blackland to whatever's appropriate.
Oh, before I forget it, Laodin owes me 3 points. Or rather, he should be reduced by 3 points. You've still got 3 unused quirks on your sheet.
Ooh, bad Laodin.
Lazy.
I'm telling you, buddy.
Now, in your case, and I know Raina didn't end up using all of hers, and she just went ahead and removed those herself. If you put those quirks back on there, you can get those points back. So I will let you do that after the fact. And speaking of that sort of thing, between adventures here, this was kind of an introductory thing. Some of you guys had pre-gen characters. Some of you weren't so sure about your choices. You will be able to swap out characters or rejigger things based on your experiences here. I don't have a problem with that. This was kind of a getting your feet wet thing. When we do this again, it'll be the for real thing. And
with the unused quirks, can I just set up any unused quirks and change them as things happen?
Yes, you may. It's cheesy, but it's legal.
Yeah, you can always change quirks. I change quirks all the time.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with people changing their quirks as they go.
Heck, I think Abe's quirks are like constantly in flux. It's like I'll go, no, that's not right. This one's changed.
So you could throw some together for Leodin and then change them if you find something you like better.
Well, that's why I tend to have
unused
quirks. As I come up with stuff when I play the character, go, I like that, and then I add it, make it a quirk.
That is insane to me.
The problem with that is you are getting points for playing a quirk that is undefined.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as I'll just set up like generic quirks.
What are the ones everybody always gets?
Proud.
No, versatile, proud, yeah. Let's think something drink related.
Bad hangovers.
Bad hangovers. Or alcohol intolerance.
Cheesy but legal. Right, character changes. So, you can make character changes. I don't have a problem with that. Let me know what you want to do. You're probably going to know more about that when we get back around to this. And I have no idea how long that will take. It's probably going to be a while, though.
Yeah, if I end up taking over.
Because I'm expecting him to take over. Also, at that point, we're probably going to have Ethan and or Ash back in the group, which is going to mean the group is going to be even bigger. And that's going to be a pain in the butt. Because we're already having people sort of getting lost in the scroll of the chat. As it is. But them's the breaks. Let's see. So, if I do end up going to the more sandboxy, hex crawly kind of thing, that means some of this stuff, like the travel stuff, is probably going to become more important to stick to it, because there will be random encounters and that sort of thing, and there's going to be entirely the potential of waylaying the entire bloody adventure because you get a random owlbear attack.
I kind of assumed that Dungeon Fantasy would mean withholding points for a while and then suddenly dumping 10 or 20 of us on as we level up.
And I'm doing that a bit here. Like I said, you're going to get 5 points more for the for character improvement next time at the start. Normally we give that stuff out at the end of the campaign, but I figured it might make more sense to give it out before we start again.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically in your case, talking about character changes, if you want to switch over to the other guy, you will have that opportunity to do that.
Ooh.
In which case, Murdoch will go after his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Or we discovered his secret and kicked him out.
Yeah.
However you describe it, but that'll be a thing.
Just added some familial things to take care of, so he asked for a leave of absence.
I figure if he just goes off after his brother, he might be able to show back up if the necromancer meets a horrible, untimely end.
Where he's like, help, help, I'm dying, and then he explodes, and we have to investigate it.
Murdoch could be doing his masterwork. Maybe crafting an axe that'll let him break into his old colony for some evidence.
Now, when I was talking about the sandbox thing and the personal plots and stuff, that is a question, because I want to know if that's how you want to do it. So if you want me to, I will do the whole breadcrumbs thing, and you can tell me where you're going. And if you want me to, I can continue to do the usual paint by numbers thing, and we can just do it that way.
I would like for us to go, yes, we wish to have this mission.
Yeah. I like the
choice of guild missions.
Yeah, I think I like the, do you want to take mission A, B, or C? Not necessarily full sandbox, but, pop up.
And other interesting things other than guild missions that might be around, like rumors or...
Right, and you guys kind of missed out on some of that, because when I started, I kind of flubbed a little bit, because there was going to be some rumors that I was going to hand out there.
That'll be cool.
So we'll assume that. And the personal plots thing, how do you feel about that? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I sort of do, yes.
Where did we do that? We did that. No, that was Banestorm. That's what it was.
The second Banestorm.
So I don't think that's going to work by the way that the writer suggested, because that is going to be randomly... Well, I mean, I guess it could still work. I think I'd probably treat it like a secret, give it a pop-up number of 6 or something like that, and just run it that way. In which case, the siblings already have a personal plot related to their siblingness.
I have put a note of things that Dustin will hit the library and try to research during downtime.
Okay.
It's basically the 2 special diseases and weird ugly donkeys.
Weird ugly donkeys.
Yep. Try to find out what's wrong with Getwell's donkey.
Because there's something wrong with that thing. It's got all this spittle.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to discover during downtime that it's actually a llama. It's gonna break the news to it.
Yeah, that one shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Just need to look up some naturalist. I have no idea where the hell they would come from either. I could sort it out though. Could be a mystery.
That's not a donkey. That's a llama, and it comes from this region.
Apparently, Leia knew what it was.
Don't listen to him, Wagon. You can be what you want to be.
You're a lady.
He identifies as a donkey.
Leia will just shrug and shake his head. Humans.
Right. So, I am ditching the Paragon Renegade because nobody used it.
Because I keep forgetting about it.
Not terribly surprised nobody used it. It was kind of I wasn't sure it was going to work here anyway, and everybody forgot about it, so we'll just drop it. I would like a bit more Fate / Gumshoe kind of stuff going on. And I really like the whole concept of aspects. And that was kind of one way to do aspects, and we really didn't get to make use of it. You guys did not use nearly all your plot points either.
That was a lucky
break. We want
break.
to turn those in for character points then.
I was actually thinking about that. Oh, speaking of that, before I forget it, you can use character points for cash.
Oh, like to.
So trading points for money, you can do trading points for money. You can still do that. Which may be what Sir Kenrick has to do.
Or directly sell them.
As in convert 1 point to whatever the conversion is. I don't remember what it is.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
You have to excuse it. It needs to have a game excuse for that, but you can do that.
Actually, I just had a great thought. Do it. I'll say this first. Do our plot points carry over?
I haven't decided.
But I just had a great thought for the campaigns that are, multi-GM. You should upload the campaign file to like GitHub, and then each GM can merge their stuff to the campaign file, and the next GM can download it.
That's interesting. Let's see, what else do I have here? Yeah, so as far as the aspects thing go, I would still like to do that. I know half this group has spoken glowingly about Fate and that sort of thing. I'd like to work more of that in. And if we can find a way to make that work here, there's really no reason you can't do it. I mean, you could spend plot points to change the narrative.
Well, yeah, the easiest way to do that would be to make spending a plot point require using an aspect, so that you have to explain it. That's how it works in Fate.
Right, and that's how the plot points work for me when you're changing the narrative. Because if you have, other than the general use ones, if you have one for like planning or something like that, it is aspected toward the planning. And if you had the Paragon Renegade thing, it was aspected toward that.
Ah, okay. But like okay, so that's what happened when we got the cart into the barricade, is we used the planning point.
Right.
Gotcha. So as individual characters, we'll need to come up with stuff like that, I guess. And if we want to spend a plot point, we have to explain it in that context? Is that what
kind of. I mean, with the general purpose points, you don't have a specific aspect to key it on, but you still, I mean, you want to come up with a neat explanation for it. You're kind of writing the story. And I know I've said it before, and it probably bears repeating, that what I want to do here is I don't want to tell you what the story is. I want to give you the Legos for the story, and you build the story. I want the story to be about the characters. Which is why I care so much about having good characters, because if your character sucks, you're going to tell a shitty story.
And that's kind of how this worked out. I mean, we did kind of, change the narrative and make it our own thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you guys did it about right, I'd say.
Cool. It was fun, too.
Now, at some point, and it's not specific to this, it's not actually specific to this campaign either, we kind of need to, I want to make a list of cinematic things and sort of categorize them, because that's what I do. And so we can get on the same page about what's doable and what's not, or what fits this criterion. Because I know we often get off on different pages when it comes to what's proper or not. But I think I felt a lot better about using a plot point to eliminate an implausibility in whatever you're doing. That's a nice crunchy way for me to wrap my head around it. And to be fair, this is mostly just me trying to wrap my head around it.
Well, that will work. Use a plot point to be cinematic. Realistic unless you use a plot point.
Or if it's in the rules already, like you've got Heroic Archer and it already says you can do that.
Right. But if you want to do something cinematic, like, I don't know, brain fart. Can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah, that used to be something that I specified with plot points, is using them to do a cinematic thing that you normally couldn't. And people just didn't do it very often, so I ended up dropping that. But if you guys actually start using it that way, I'll totally write it back in there, because that's perfectly fine with me. Using plot points is a license to do things that I would normally not allow.
What I've started doing in my face-to-face Mad Max game is if the player comes up with something cinematic and that's like really cool, then I actually give them a +1 to do it, kind of like Daredevil. So you could do that as well. So if you want to encourage people to use plot points to do cinematic stuff, give them a bonus to their rolls to do it.
I have in the past had it in my rule notes regarding plot points that if I think whatever happened was really cool, I can give it back to you. So at that, what would you actually like to see next while I have everybody here?
Dungeon raid. Maybe a tomb raid. Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to work a dungeon in somewhere, and it seems natural to have dungeons in Dungeon Fantasy. There will be dungeons, I promise.
Yep. Getwell wants to smash some undead skulls.
Some local noble may have a family crypt get overrun with undead or something like that, and hire the guild to clean it out. Because his men are too scared to go in there.
Maybe that's what Getwell's doing in town, kind of doing local cemetery cleanups.
Yeah. If it's like Elder Scrolls and every friggin' cemetery has a dungeon underneath it, it goes on for friggin' ever. There are a couple of other sort of related things that I'm thinking of. Is one, I had said that I would like to get more into the realm management part of it, and if you guys are interested in that, we can do that. That would probably center around Reyna getting her land back. So that means you guys would probably be moving to Westmark and operating out of there. If that's something you want to do, we can do that, or we can kind of let it go freeform for a little while and then get back to that at some point.
Personally, I'd prefer freeform.
Yeah.
We do realm management with Cassaspelli, and that works well.
Well, we're probably not going to see that for a while.
Why not?
Boo!
Traveler!
Still.
He's got a crap ton of Traveler. And normal people only work on one campaign at a time.
Well, some people just aren't as skilled as others. Yeah. Because I'm so skilled.
But the other semi-related question was whether or not you guys were interested in actually switching over to work for the Arl.
I like the
That's
guild.
also a possibility. You guys could also end up taking him as a patron or stuff like that. He's totally available for that. Or if you'd like to do that but use somebody else, that's also a possibility.
I think we're too new to the guild to want to
Yeah,
break away so early.
Yeah, I'd like to stick with the guild for a little while and then maybe transfer.
If as players you guys would kind of like to lean that direction, maybe not yet. I can start working that in a little more. So just make sure that there are some guild missions that lean you back that direction.
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty frequent.
Probably one for the ideas bin, but what would be really cool is if we stay with the guild, and it turns out the guild gets corrupted by, what's his face? The Cardinal whatever.
Richelieu.
And starts turning the guild into something bad. And then, we leave the guild that way to fight against the guild.
Well, the guild has been falling into disfavor somewhat. That's on the wiki. I don't know that they would necessarily be classified as a bad guy, just people start ignoring them.
But it'd be good to have a reason to actually want to leave the guild. So the guild goes bad and we don't like it anymore, so that's the thing that prompts us to leave.
Oh, one other, before I forget it, thing. You guys also have those guild coins, so if you, for example, find yourself out of money and need a place to stay, you can still use one of those coins to get a room.
What is the limit that a guild coin can buy?
There isn't one.
So we could stay in a really rich place, $1,000 a night? With hookers and blow?
You can stay in the Heroes Guild. Yeah, you can't spend those outside the guild. They're only good at the guild.
Okay.
But is that one coin one night or one coin for a stay?
Well, specifically, since I'm ripping off John Wick here, they have come out and said that there is no value for those coins. There is no specified value. So it's worth whatever it's worth at the moment. And I would say you've seen John Wick pay for a room for multiple nights with one coin. You've also seen him pay for a drink with one coin.
It's Plex.
Bitcoins.
So it's worth what it's worth. Which is why I say you probably can't buy a horse, but you can at least rent one. And the time period for which you could rent it is probably fairly flexible. But they would expect it to be returned in that case. But that also goes for gear and that sort of thing. So, for example, you could spend a guild coin to get something made, which they would go over to the Smith's Guild and call in a favor here and there. End up having Murdoch make it for you. Or you could just go straight to Murdoch and have him make it for you in the first place, if you're on the cheap.
Should there be a prerequisite of Smith skill for particular guild ranks?
You don't have the Smith skill?
Yeah, he's got the skill.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's 11.
He's not that great.
No.
Which, incidentally, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the funny thing about the masterpiece is it's not what you would consider a masterpiece. It has to be of absolutely average quality. So you present your masterpiece to the guild and say, this is me making this thing at the average requirement. And they say, yeah, you can do this job. You are now a master.
Kind of like a PhD.
Kinda. The funny thing is the whole average quality thing just seems completely counter to it, but it makes a weird sort of sense when you consider that somebody who's making really spectacular stuff is going to make the rest of them look bad.
Does anyone know which book Long Knife is in?
It's at least in martial arts.
Martial arts 228, 229. Per GCA, anyway.
So, does anybody have any questions or stuff to add to the overall situation? Things you don't want to do again, things you do want to do again. I tried to bait Dustin into doing a wizard circle with the merc. He didn't bite. I suppose if that little bit of exposition had been more recent, he might have thought of that. But I was totally ready to do that one.
Yeah, I kind of didn't want to mess with the guy because he had that item.
It's just
extremely expensive.
Well, that wasn't a magic item. That was a staff. That was his staff.
Oh, okay. When you said it was a rod, I took it to be some sort of enchanted item.
No, it's just it's a different version of the staff. I know in like D&D 4th edition, they started with the whole you can have a staff or a wand or an orb or a rod, whichever one you wanted, and I've always kept that.
Okay, cool.
Actually, he was
I didn't get it.
He was using the Scurvy Dog style from Swashbucklers. So it's kind of a mutt magic style. So Dustin would have had no freaking clue what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, I sensed that he was more powerful than me, so I didn't want to mess with him.
Actually, you guys were probably about the same.
It was because the magical hackles rising. I don't do that.
Well, I suppose if no one else has anything to add, then we're probably done here.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Good adventure.
Need a tourney.
Yeah, tourney's on the way. That was one of the things that got missed was if you'd gotten the chance to get the rumors and everything, you would have heard that the king's wedding is coming up midsummer and that there will be a tourney.
Oh yeah, I gotta be there. I gotta be in it. Means I need some cavalry training so I can whack some people with my lance.
Yep. If you guys had taken a different road, you would have actually run into one of those knights doing a pas d'armes.
Awesome. So I guess next week is Shoosting.
Right. Well, are we starting Frome next week?
I guess so. It's kind of what I was expecting.
Was it? Okay.
My only concern, my big concern is the week after. So was that the 8th?
Right. And that was the one that Carrie was going to be gone for.
So my concern is on the 18th, what that could do, just because if I'm not here, then you guys will need to have something ready to go in the back burner.
If we end up, I would kind of like to find a weekend over the silly season here where we can do some of the city building stuff for the supers thing, because I have kind of been thinking about that again. But that means we'll have a session where we're not really doing anything. I don't know. Does anybody have a problem with doing something like that during the week?
No.
No.
It depends.
I mean, depending. Obviously, it's going to be a little harder to schedule that, but I may bring that up later. See if we can find a good spot for that. Yeah, because I would like to start working in some of the one-shots for that, but since we haven't done that stuff yet, and we've not really gotten to it on the boards, then obviously we need to get together and take care of it.
I can do that as long as it doesn't start too early, because we're gone for karate stuff many nights. And I know Friday night is my only guaranteed free night, but you guys have a game that night.
Well, sometimes we don't,
Usually.
so...
Well, actually, that's not guaranteed. It's just the one
Speaking of which, I wanted to point this out. This is the first time in 30 years of me gaming, well, 25 years of me gaming, that I have run 6 sessions in a row without breaks and without absences.
Yay!
Awesome.
Win.
That has never happened before.
We're pretty good about the absences, generally speaking.
Usually you can expect somebody to drop out within a full campaign at least once or twice.
Yeah, but we're also not we're not generally. It's also it's coming. We're pretty good about announcing ahead of time.
Well, our Friday group is not the case.
Oh my god.
You need to get a better Friday group.
Yeah, I need to get Mark to move down here.
Yeah. Well, or if you're using Fantasy Grounds, I could always just Skype in.
Yeah, we can't get McNerlin to do it.
Well, can't really use Fantasy Grounds because one of the players doesn't actually have a laptop. He has a laptop, but it bricked and he hasn't replaced it.
Well, you could always just do. What I did was a hybrid style game where the screen was just the map and everything else, and everyone just sat around talking and you rolled dice on the table.
Well, on Wednesday, my Wednesday group, we have some people that are like in another town, but on this occasion, pretty much everyone was there except for 2 people were in town, so we all got together. We played face to face, and we had one laptop with all players had laptops, but we had one laptop which was the server, and the person that was out of town signed into Fantasy Grounds, and we had a microphone set in the middle of the table to do the voice, and it worked really well. So everyone else played face to face, except the guy that was out of town was on Fantasy Grounds.
Yep, I've done that too, actually.
Well, we haven't sorted that out yet. And we have trouble doing that where we play because we can't change the port forwarding there. It's a business.
You can't set up like Hamachi or something like that?
It's a business.
Yeah, but how much you run? It's like a proxy, web proxy.
I'm not installing a VPN on somebody else's server.
No, you don't install it on your laptop.
Yeah, it's not on the. It's doesn't
No.
reside on.
Well, I'm not installing that on my laptop because I'm not running a VPN from my laptop. But yeah, anyway. No, we just haven't been able to make that work yet.
It's fine. Okay, well, I'm gonna log off then. I will talk to you guys next week.
Good night.
Yeah, good night, everybody.